Hi, and welcome to TallTimber.com, home of TallTimber and Timberpad software. Timberpad is the data collection software for iOS and Android systems. TallTimber is the cruise processor that processes that data. We're going to go through steps 1 through 4 of that data processing in this video. Step 5 is the FVS growth modeling integration step, where we show you how easy it can be to model your growth and then integrate it into your static inventory reports with TallTimber. Before we import our data, let's take a quick look and see what it could look like. So this is a Timberpad data set. It's comma delimited text, and it's of our fictitious Deer Lake forest. Similarly, this is also of Deer Lake, and it is in an Excel spreadsheet. The formatting of this data is only important if you're not using Timberpad. If you're bringing your own data in, you may have to learn about how to get it in the right format. We cover that in great detail on our TallTimber channel at YouTube. And we also have an operator's manual that covers it quite well, and that's available for download at TallTimber.com. So let's download this, let's import this data set from Deer Lake. We'll click step 1 and we'll choose the spreadsheet format, and it comes in successfully and tells us so. Step 2 is where we enter our prism BAF or plot size. This is the only requirement for an input beyond your data set in TallTimber. So we're going to say we cruised with a variable radius plot with a BAF of 15. If we had chosen fixed radius, we'd used a 1/10 acre plot, we would put that in here. Or if we had used a 100% tally, perhaps we painted 3 acres of white pine, we would turn this 0 to a 3 for 3 acres. Now these optional settings are steps 2 through 6. And with those optional settings, you can really target this inventory to just how you have your specifications set. Species codes can be different, regeneration and merchantability thresholds, cubic feet per cord, etc. If you make those changes and you want to keep them permanent as the default going forward, you would just click Keep My Codes. With that selected, it's not going to restore them to the default settings in TallTimber. If you make these changes and this is not checked, then it's going to assume on the next import, the next data set you bring in, that you want the default TallTimber settings. So use the Keep My Codes checkbox if you make changes and you want them to be permanent. Step 3 is optional, and it's a form called Profile Report that allows you to look at your inventory after you've imported it to make sure it's the inventory that you think you have. So we just want to measure twice and cut once here. So here's our number of plots. We had 170 plots at Deer Lake, so that looks right. The acreage is right. The strata stands are right. Prism BAF was 15. So this is a place you can just quickly check out the inventory as it comes into TallTimber to make sure TallTimber is viewing it right. Step 4 is probably the more interesting step, and it's process and get results. Now we can process in either of 3 different log rules, and they all have the same 2 options of individual reports or combined reports. So an individual report is just like it sounds. It's a place where you can print off a single report. It's not going to have a cover page. It's not going to be combined with other reports. Perhaps you just want to get the stats at the per acre level. So here's a report that shows our precision statistics. So at 95% confidence, we're plus or minus 9.7% on total cords. We're plus or minus 15% on board foot products at 95%. So this might be something that you check because you want to know if you took enough plots, if the cruise is working out the way you thought. If you wanted a table of information, perhaps you wanted at the standard strata level, you wanted a table that has all your values. You're going to do some analysis on your own, make some of your own charts. This table would be good for that. And it has all your multi-products, and it has them both as board feet and cubic feet on the quality products. And it has your cords and your cubic feet per cord over here assumption. So you can get at the cubic feet in each of these cordwood values because you have cubic feet per cord. Again, you would just select the entire table, go to external data and export to Excel, or if you already had a spreadsheet open, you just copy and paste it into the spreadsheet. So now we're going to go back to combined report mode. This is where you have a menu of all of those same reports, but you can choose them in their order. You can put together a master report of those sub-reports. Now, there's 58 different sub-reports to choose from here, and you choose them by putting a number in any of the boxes. It seems like a lot, but it's going to be stored every time you do a report. When you open it back up, it's going to suggest the settings for the last report. So you can pick away at this and get it the way you want and tweak it, and you're not going to have to think about it each time. Now, we like to start with charts just because they're colorful and they show a lot for a little bit of a few numbers. Will show you a lot with a chart. So we start our master report off with charts generally. That's just a personal choice. So we're going to have a pie chart, another pie chart, and a bar chart. And I'm getting at the pie and the bar by the column. Just like with the other tabular type reports, we have chord values and ton values. So you choose the ones you want. You can choose up to 15. We have our board foot height stocking for the property level as number 7, for example. So we're going to go to make print. Filling in these fields is optional. We're going to quickly put in a few values. We're going to say Deer Lake, and we're going to say prepared by Healthy Forests. Whoops. And now we can put a image file on our cover page. And Deer Lake was a tree farm in the tree farm program, and we're going to put our business logo there. So those were optional. If we wanted to just click compile and view, we could have done that. It would have just put some default values in. So while it's building the master report, let me just tell you that there's also a boilerplate page for page 2. So here's our logo, our Deer Lake, Healthy Forests, tree farm sign, date. Page 2 is boilerplate information on the species involved in the cruise, wood density. If you change your species codes, it shows up there. Form class, those are the assumptions made. So here's our first pie chart, and this report is going to have several pie charts and then a bar chart, as you recall. Here's a bar chart on board foot stocking by 2-inch diameter class. And then our last chart, our last sub-report involved tons per at the species level, tons and board foot stocking. So this is the last page of the report, and this is for yellow birch. We have all of our different multi-product outputs here. If we had collected our data in a saw pulp height mode style, like you can do in Timberpad, we would have had a saw log product and a pulpwood product, and that would be fine as well. But one of the good things about this report is if you had boltwood, for example, and in yellow birch, and it was supposed to be 9 inches or bigger DBH, if you saw boltwood showing up down in here, you'd know something was wrong in your inventory data. So this is a place where you can check, are the specs being met. So that was steps 1 through 4 in TallTimber. Step 5 is going to show how we integrate FVS growth projections into that master report, and it's pretty painless. If you've ever used FVS, suppose, you'll find this is a very much easier way to integrate that FVS suppose into your reporting. Thanks for watching.